Am I the a-hole for telling my daughter to go ask her bio family for money? My daughter, 26, is adopted. She started meeting her bio family after she had her son 3 years ago. I never went against her decision to have her bio family in her life. I've always encouraged her to give them a chance, especially her bio mom. But I noticed I was being gradually pushed to the side. Not just me, but the family too. No more Sunday dinners, no more trips, no more pictures, and not even weekly phone calls like we used to have. I figured she was busy being a mom, and she confirmed that, but her Facebook page showed me otherwise. There were tons of pictures of her visiting her bio family, and tons of pictures with my grandson. I realized she was making excuses to skip family time with us to be with her bio family more. Whenever her dad and I brought this up with her, she turned it into an argument in which she'd call us too sensitive or too jealous, or not giving her space to get to know her bio family better. We had one big argument and she never spoke again. After, she said no matter how much love and eagerness we show her bio family's love is greater and more natural. She stayed gone for months until her husband Thomas, who's always been struggling with heart condition, gotten worse. He is in the end stage of heart failure and is required to have an LVAD implant, but my daughter cannot afford it. Lately, she's been coming over a lot to talk about Thomas's condition. We do what we can to comfort her, but she brought up the piece of land we have for my 14-year-old son's education. I refused to even have this conversation, but she kept pushing for us to sell the land and help her get the device. I said I was sorry, but that will go to her brother, who sees me and her dad as his parents, and isn't willing to replace us like she did, and then told her to go ask her bio family for the money. She was shocked, and said that she couldn't believe how conditional my love for her was, and that I care more about being petty than my grandson's future with both parents, not a widowed mother. She started crying, calling us unsupportive, and that this is the time we show her we're true family, instead of showing conditional love and act petty at her husband's expense. I said I'm sorry about Thomas, but that is all I had to say. She left and we haven't heard from her since then. My husband says Thomas and our grandson are innocent, and maybe we should help out now then settle our conflict later. But that is a lot of money that I feel I'm not obligated to give, even without the whole drama from her bio family. I'm upset, but I don't resent my daughter as she's struggling with a lot. But at this point, I feel like she's only keeping us around for money, given that we paid for many things in the past while her bio family did nothing. Now for the top comments. Not today, Hall. She's the one showing conditional love. And if a bio family's love is greater and more natural, then why aren't they paying? I want to be really petty and say that greater and more natural love wasn't enough for them to keep her and raise her, but I know that's a low blow. At this point, I would not sell the land and give her money. She has shown that she only wants money now, so it's on her to figure it out. Most states have some form of welfare/social services to help gravely ill people, so she should explore that option. I feel very sad for you and your grandson. You loved her and raised her, and now your relationship has been reduced to a transactional state. She really should be ashamed of herself. Money was the only reason she started speaking to her parents again. She knew that the money existed and wanted to use her parents' love for her as a weak point to get the money for herself/her husband. Like every con artist, she did her groundwork first, pouring on a sob story, getting the parents reinvested in her life. Then she moved on to the con. She hit them with an ultimatum. Give me the kids' college fund or else I will say that your love is conditional. Her father is falling for the con. Fortunately, Mom has recognized that it's daughter's love that's conditional, and that even if they were willing to sacrifice the brother's future to buy her love, it wouldn't work. She's already chosen her bio family. Opie, don't let your husband try to buy her love. You can offer to help her with fundraisers, but that college money is non-negotiable. She won't want your help though. She only wants the cash. You'd end up being without her love and being without money for son's education too. He shouldn't suffer because his parents fell for his sister's con and sold his future to try buy his sister's love. My father tries to buy my sister's love, and it breaks my heart because she hasn't visited him in 10+ years and only calls to ask for money and uses her daughter as an excuse. Opie, please don't let your husband buy her love. It will only end up hurting him and you in the long run, while the daughter continues to use and use without any actual love and care in return. I'm very curious about the reason and terms for her adoption, but I've noticed a trend in AITA posts where adopted children find their birth family after they become adults, then ditch the people who raised them. It's quite heartbreaking. Daughter's birth family didn't raise her for a reason. Opie did. Cutting them off and then asking for money is horrible on her part. Not today, Hall. Love is always conditional. Treat someone like dirt and they will stop loving you. Holy crap, that hit me hard for some reason. You're absolutely right. People love to say that it's unconditional, yet it's simply not at the end of the day. This is a tough one, but your daughter seems a bit manipulative and demanding, so not stay home. Or desperate. Or entitled. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my sister her bi family are not on my wedding invite list anymore? I'm one of 5 and we're all adopted. Some through foster care, others are infants. My sister was adopted as an infant and reconnected with her bi family 5 years ago. Growing up as the only 2 girls in the family, we were close. And then when she found her bi parents and bi sisters, it all changed. I pulled back a lot when I saw her post about finally having sisters on social media. I ignored her for months. And then when I found the strength to talk to her, I was honest that her attitude around them does hurt me. That being discarded and dismissed as a sister hurt. She apologized, we went to therapy together, and eventually introduced the rest of our family to her bi family. They get invited to family stuff now. And when I got engaged, she asked me if I would invite her bi family. I said sure, if she wanted. That was last year. Wedding isn't for many months yet, so no invites or anything. But my sister started talking about needing a bigger family section, needing to make sure the photographer can get a huge group into more intimate photos. I asked her what she meant. She said with her bio family. I said they weren't being included as family of mine. She told me they should be, but I said no. They were being invited as guests. We then had a fight about it. She accused me of mistreating them. She told me I was rude to them, that I never gave them a chance, and ever resented them for existing. I told her no, but that didn't mean I was going to treat them like they're my family. She told me she would, and now she thinks I should. That I should show I don't hold any feelings about the past and what happened. I told her I wasn't willing to do what she wanted, and she told me that makes me an a-hole because it's not good to make her family feel like outsiders, and it shows a lack of love for her if I'm not willing to accept her family as my family. She sent me a long message afterward telling me they're important to her, and that they will always be her family, will always have that extra special connection to her, and that I need to be okay with that. And that it's on me to make that effort because I had a reaction I did when she first made contact and wrote the post. I considered everything and decided it would be better off not inviting them at all because she was never going to let it go. I told her I was no longer inviting them and she tried to pick another fight with me, but I didn't engage. She told me I was behaving like a child and being an a-hole to her and them. Am I the a-hole? I don't understand her reasoning. Just because those are her bi family and she's close with them, it doesn't automatically make them your family. You already have your siblings and your parents. She really thinks your bi parents are now your second set of parents? If her bi family are reasonable people, there's no way they'd be insulted or upset for not being included in the family pictures. But they're being invited to one of the biggest events in your life. That is definitely not considered being mistreated. Info, how old is your sister? She needs to grow up and do it fast. What on earth is wrong with these people? If I was a part of Opie's sister's bi family, I'd be ashamed of this behavior. Is she forgetting that they're her bi family but not yours? And to take this one step farther, if her bi parents are now your second set of parents, shouldn't they help foot the bill for the wedding? She clearly is not done working through some things related to being adopted. Adopted kid who is in touch with my own bi family here. While important to her, this is not her wedding. That she is making this a larger deal and sounds likely to cause a commotion at your actual wedding, you are well within your rights to decide to no longer invite them. This also seems like a large number of people you will also be paying for to make your sister happy. Definitely not stay home. Honestly, with all the horror stories of adopted kids who find their bi family, the ones that gave them away, and suddenly decide that the parents and siblings who were there from the beginning are now somehow less important just because they don't share DNA, would put a lot of people off of adopting. Your sister's bi family is her bi family, not yours. And she shouldn't be berating you into giving them any role in your wedding than any other guest should get. There is a whole TikTok world of adoptees talking crap on their adoptive parents and saying adoption should never exist. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my cousin she doesn't get to call my wife a terrible mother when she had abandoned her child years ago? Alright, I'm gonna get right to it, folks. Yesterday, I went over to my mother's house to talk about the accident that happened with my 3-year-old, who tripped off the stairs and injured his knee while I was at work. He's fine, nothing serious, but my mother was freaking out and wanted me to tell her what happened in details. The family was there, so I explained what happened, And my female cousin then chimed in and said, "Oh my God, where the hell was this boy's mother? Was she even home?" I said she was, but was in the kitchen when he fell and couldn't prevent it. My cousin then leaned back and said, "How could she? I cannot imagine leaving my 3-year-old unattended for so long. What a terrible mother your wife is, honestly." I'm fuming at this point, so I look at her and ask if she's serious, and she gives me the most dense look I've ever seen. I told her she had no right to call my wife a terrible mother after she, my cousin, abandoned her kids in foster care years ago. She looks at me grudgingly and tells me that was years ago when she was too young and not ready to be a mother. Besides, her parents made her give away her son. But I told her that is when she failed as a mother, because she essentially didn't fight for her kid and abandoned him so easily. She lashed out at me saying her circumstances were difficult then, and I could not blame her. But if she's to commit to be a mom, which she will in the future, she's 22 by the way, she will step up and parent her kids, which is something my wife needs to be doing instead of spending time in the kitchen for her internet clout. We argued back and forth, and she ended up leaving the room crying after I said she's a failure of a mother if she thinks my wife is terrible then. My mother berated me for my unnecessary cruelty and having a habit of bringing up my cousin's unpleasant past to win an argument. I said that wasn't true, as she was insulting my wife's motherhood, but my mother agreed my wife was being neglectful towards our son, and that she needed to focus less on her Facebook blogs and more on family. I ended up arguing with her too, then left. My wife got involved in the argument, after my mother called her to berate her and told her to tell me to apologize to my cousin for what I said. Now for the comments. Not today, home, but going forward you need to put your family on an information diet. Your mother does not need to know every bump and bruise, and even bigger injuries don't have to be detailed for her. There was a small accident, everybody's fine is enough. If there's truly an issue with your wife needing to be more diligent with your child's care, that is something that needs to be addressed, but your mother doesn't need to have any part in that. I'm glad your kiddo is going to be okay. I love info diet. My mother's on that. All answers, everyone is fine, school is good, and they're all doing well. How are you doing? Then she'll talk about herself. She's an arc and lives that. She gets no info to use against me or my family later. I cut her off for about 6 months, and it was hard on my dad. So now it's very much info diet with low contact. It's working so far. Your cousin is a hypocrite, and kids are fast. I can't even pee without hearing a crash from something my 4-year-old did. Not today, home. There are a few people in here suggesting a baby gate. My now 4-year-old completely destroyed every baby gate we had. Even the ones nailed it to the walls, at just 2 years old. If it works for you, great. Some kids have Herculean strength though. It's like the child-proof medicine bottles that kids can open but adults can't. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband he overreacted over a piece of cake? Hi. So my husband, male 32, and I, female 24, are expecting our first baby together. I'm 7 months in. My in-laws are lovely people. My mother-in-law had some not-so-major fights with her husband and has been staying with us for a few days. Her birthday was yesterday, and because of her emotional and mental state, my husband decided to throw her a surprise party and invite his siblings. He got everything ready, and I was home alone when the cake arrived from the bakery. To give some info, the cake was big and had my mother-in-law's favorite flavor, strawberry. I asked my husband for some snack as I was craving really badly, but he didn't get them. To be honest, I got a bit tempted whenever I looked at the cake and decided to cut a small piece of it. I didn't think it was a big deal until my husband saw it and flipped out asking why I ruined the cake and cut a piece of it. I said I was sorry but was craving something sweet. He said that was supposed to be his mother's birthday cake, and I embarrassed him by taking a piece of it instead of waiting till the party in just a few hours. I said I should have been the one to handle it if he didn't think I was up to the task, but he went off saying he couldn't believe how childish I was with zero impulse control. To be blaming him instead of checking myself and not being supportive. This made me upset because there were a ton of other stuff he asked me to do and I did it. He kept arguing, saying I just cost him the piece of cake, and an utter embarrassment when his mom sees that I ate from her cake. I looked at him and told him he overreacted over a piece of cake, and asked if a piece of cake was more important than his son, and that I was sure his mom will understand that I took my piece of cake in advance because I really couldn't help myself, but he said this wasn't about me. And I have to just admit I messed up and ruined his work, then went upstairs. I refused to come off the room to celebrate after he told me to stay there, and I explained to his mom what happened, and she didn't say anything, though I noticed she was bothered. He keeps telling me to apologize, otherwise he won't speak to me nor acknowledge my presence in the house. Ask if a piece of cake was more important than his son. Stop trying to manipulate him. Your unborn son did not want the cake. You did. You know good and well that if someone cut a piece of your birthday cake before you even got a chance to see it, you would have a fit. You're the a-hole. For real. That line bothered me the most as it was such a stretch and 100% manipulative. Also, is Opie 5-year-old? Who just can't control themselves around birthday cake and doesn't understand how bad of etiquette it is to take a piece before the person celebrating their birthday even gets to see it. Opie owes some apologies. During my 8.5 months of pregnancy so far and all of my cravings, I've never once thought of myself before others. Waking my boyfriend at 2 a.m. for ice cream, eating someone's cake before the event, etc. That my baby is fine and healthy. The fact that Opie attempted to manipulate her husband and guilt him is disgusting. You're the a-hole big time. Reminds me of the Opie who ate the cake her significant other specifically made for her to eat and into Denise's birthday caterpillar cake because, tee-hee, the baby wanted cake. Girl, please. Your greedy, selfish self wanted cake and decided that your wants and needs come before everyone else. Being pregnant doesn't mean your crap doesn't suddenly stink. Honey, you tripping if you think you are not the a-hole here. Apologize and be done with us. Your husband is absolutely right. You lack impulse control and you not only embarrass him, you embarrassed yourself.